Easton Baker, linebacker, 6'1", 215, out of Utah. Went to Stansbury High School, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Utah Tech, Arizona State. I am telling you, this kid does stuff on film that if you did it in a movie, you would go, that's not believable. Because I think he hit like what 6, 8 guys that he hit so hard that they fumbled, and somebody else took the ball for a touchdown. But I think if I recall on the videos, I think I counted 2 times that he hit a guy so hard that he fumbled, and then Easton picked up the ball and ran for a touchdown himself. And anybody who's ever played high school, I don't care what level you're playing at, that is almost impossible to do. And it became like a routine thing for him to knock somebody so hard that they did that. I think he is like the embodiment of a linebacker in terms of a hitting machine. And I go back to some of the guys who just pounded people. Illinois used to be years ago linebacker with Nitschke and Butkus and even going back to Dana Howard and in the more modern era. But this guy, I'll tell you what, he is an old style hitter. And if you watch his film and you're not excited, there's something wrong with you, kid.
Well, right away, your facial expression, Matt's facial expression is priceless. This kid is going to play linebacker for the University of Illinois. They promised him that, and this kid did commit to BYU, and he backed out of it. He was injured this year. I'm not for sure exactly what the injury was, but you talked about right a physical guy, and he may be a Jay Lehman type linebacker, but a little bit more physical. And I like the fact that he's from Utah. I mean, I just don't know. This probably sounds mean that they produce a lot of football players out there, but I like his attitude, like you said. And again, his senior year was cut short due to injuries, but he's just a physical guy. And Andy Boo's been all over this recruitment, and I just can't wait to hear what Matt Stevens has to say about this kid.
I'm really glad that Ked got the on the field stuff out of the way because it allows me to not have to go there because I don't want to. Do you guys realize how unbelievably impossible this recruitment should have been for Illinois, Brett Bielema, and Andy Boo? Okay. The last and the only time that Illinois has ever gotten a lettered athlete in football from the state of Utah, 1891. That's something to where, like, I can't even ask Lauren Tate what it was like to go watch that guy play watch that Utah native play at Illinois.
Even Red Grange
Right. It
couldn't
goes
answer
back
that.
further than that, right? My buddy Lauren Tate can't remember watching him play, right? Okay. Then Ked almost went there, but I'll go all the way there. This kid is a devout LDS church, member of the LDS church, who decommitted from Brigham Young after his 9th grade season. Do you realize how hard that is to do when you are a devout Mormon who is a member of the LDS church and you have a commitment to BYU and you back out of it in order to investigate your options in football? Like there are people who are there are religious people who were telling Easton Baker, don't do that. Like, who don't care anything about football. They wanted him at Brigham Young. That there's a reason they call the BYU Utah game the Holy War. Like it's a thing, okay? And then you get to the idea that he is exactly what Andy Boo wants in a middle linebacker from a violent standpoint, from an intelligence standpoint, from a maturity standpoint. He is the living embodiment of what they want. He is the Utah version of James Cruz, where he just plays like his head's on fire the entire time and does so in a way that you understand that his football IQ is very, very high in the way that an 18-year-old should not be. I loved the fact that when I asked Brett Bielema about this, and he said that, well, if Easton Baker had been from Springfield, we would have recruited him too. Like, and I'm not suggesting, God knows, I'm not suggesting that this is going to build some sort of pipeline from Utah to Illinois. Like, that's just not going to happen. I don't think that, Jason Epperson's going to have to, at CU Church, is going to have to figure out how to deal with an LDS service for Easton Baker, and all the other Mormons that are going to follow, Mormon football players are going to follow him to the Fighting Illini football program. What I am telling you is that I think that this is a really, really cool nugget of information and a cool thing that Andy Boo was able to pull off in a way that when you see his film and you present it to Brett Bielema and you go, I think we got a shot at this kid from Utah, and then you get on a plane less than 24 hours after that and basically lock down the recruitment from that point on. It's an unbelievable recruiting story. And then I'll end it with something on the field. In a very, very similar way to James Kreutz, with the mentality that Easton Baker plays with right now as an 18-year-old, knowing he's going to be here in the spring, I do think there's a possibility that he could find his way on Robbie Disher's special teams unit as a true freshman, because he can make an impact there in the same way that James Kreutz did in his true freshman year as well. But I can't wait to talk to this young man about all of the off the field things he had to deal with his recruitment that have nothing to do with football, because everything that he decided to do as a 17 and 18-year-old is just not done in his region and in his faith and in his football. It just isn't done. And this kid decided to do it because he wanted to be at an extremely high level of football. And he thinks that Andy Boo and Brett Bielema and Aaron Henry are going to provide that for him.
I just keep thinking about the other kids when they're watching the game film, and this kid, again, he's not huge, but 6'1", 215. And then the way he hits, and there's some poor running back going, I hope to God my offensive line does something, because otherwise I'm going to die.
Mike, when Brett Bielema does the film review with us of all of the signees on signing day,
yep,
he has a great line, which is, you remember that kid who's just about to get blown up, he has a mom in the stands that has to watch that.
Yeah, no. I trust me. And as one of those guys who probably had that happen to me, my biggest fear was, don't let me get hurt, because my mom might run out onto the field. That would be really embarrassing. But I'm sure Easton Baker saw plenty of moms come out on the field, because the way he separated people from the ball is just amazing. It should be a lot of fun to see what he can do in the orange and blue.